I read books in October, and I'm going to talk about them because it's fun. All right, so in October, I read 12 books. I had 14 books on my TBR, and out of that TBR, I read 9 books. Though, to be fair, 2 of those books were kind of like, if I get to them, I get to them kind of a thing. So, really was 9 out of 12. So, still a really good number, especially since I didn't even read the big book that I wanted to read this month, but we're gonna get to that later. So, out of those 12 books I read, I had 1 3.5 star, 2 3.75 stars, 2 4 stars, 3 4.5 stars, and 3 5 stars. 2 of those 5 stars were rereads. No, wait. Yeah, 2 of those 5 stars were rereads, but 1 was a completely new book. I need to sneeze. Oh, how dare you. Also, my hair, I'm giving up on my bangs. Let's get the complaining out of the way first, right? They're in a whole new ugly stage. How is this possible? I've gone through so many ugly stages of bangs and it's still ugly. And I also have these baby hairs that are growing in, and it's just making it look like my forehead's fuzzy, and I can't. Like, the baby hairs are necessary. That's the reason that we're growing out the bangs, was for the baby hairs. But still, why do they have to be the way that they are? Anyway, now that the complaining's out of the way, we can actually get back to the book. So, first book that I read was Words of Radiance. I finished this literally 2 days after the start of the month, and I was like, why couldn't I finish this in September? But it's okay, it doesn't matter. I finished my reread, took forever to get through because I was trying to finish editing a bunch of videos. I just was stressing myself out by trying to get so much stuff done by the end of September that I didn't finish it. But it's finished now. I gave it 5 stars. It was a good book. Apparently, I forgot every single thing that happened in this series, so now I'm reading Oathbringer right now, and I have literally no idea what's going to happen next. Like, I have vague ideas of stuff that happens later in the series, but besides that, it's all gone. My boyfriend was listening to the books, and I was like, I don't remember a single thing that you're reading. And he was like, yeah, don't pay attention, because if you don't remember, it's better. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. The next book I read, because I was like really wanting to do a reread, and I was specifically really wanting to do like a Ella Montgomery or Louisa May Alcott reread, because I love their books, and they give Louisa May Alcott specifically. I love listening to Little Women in the like December wintertime, because it just gives winter to me, like that happy cozy feeling. And so I was like, I want to read something, listen to something. So I was looking up what they had, and the one that popped up was Ella Montgomery had Further Chronicles of Avonlea on audiobook. Now, have I read this before? Yes. Was it like 5 years ago? Yeah. So I was listening to it, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this short story. Oh yeah, I remember this short story. Because how it's written is like short stories that happened in Avonlea where Anne lived, but it's from like different characters' perspectives. So it's like none of it specifically from Anne's point of view. It's all just, no, actually there is one short story that's from her point of view, but like most of it's just from people who live in Avonlea. And I was like, oh, I love this, I love this, I love this. And then it got to one story that when I read this book the first time, I remember thinking, this is so weird. And reading it this time, I'm like, this is even weirder than I remember. And it's in a vlog where I'm like, I literally, like, I hate this. I stopped listening to the book. So like put me in like, not a reading slump, but just like put me off reading for the day. Because I was like, I actually can't. But I give it 4.5 stars because it would be 5 stars if not for that one story. The next book I read was Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. This one was on my TBR for the month because I got it on Libby, and I was listening to it at work. And I think if I enjoyed villain stories more, I would have enjoyed this more, because the whole point of this was the fact that she was able to defeat like the bad thing because she was like not the perfect person. And it was such an interesting idea, and I think I would have enjoyed it more if I liked reading about like twisted characters a little bit more. But it made me feel uncomfortable, but I still was rooting for the love story. I don't know, it was weird. I gave it 3.5 stars. I might read the next book in the series, maybe. I also didn't really care about like, what is it called, the world, like the world building and like the lore that they were giving me. I don't know, it was interesting, but I don't know if I'd keep reading. Anyway, Partials by Dan Wells was the next one I read. Oh wait, I forgot to pull up the books. I finished Words of Radiance. I'm so used to not having the physical books to show you, but I finished Words of Radiance. Yay. And then Partials by Dan Wells. This one, I gave a 4 star. I love the way he writes. I loved his I'm Not a Serial Killer series. I read it in college and creeped myself out. I really liked this one. I think I need to finish the series before I can like definitively say whether I loved it. I gave it 4 stars because it was a really good setup for the rest of the series, and I really, really enjoyed. My book specifically came with like extras in the back that wasn't in the audiobook, I think. And it was really interesting to read that and see like how it actually happened, because I won't give you any spoilers. You see how the world shuts down and they're living in like a dystopian society. It was really good to read in September, actually. No, finished it in October, but I started reading in September. I have the next book on audiobook for this month. I just have not been wanting to listen to audiobooks the last couple days, probably because for me, I have to listen to audiobooks when I'm in a certain frame of mind, and I've been so annoyed at work lately that I just have not been wanting to listen or do anything that like I have to give it a chance. I've just been like listening to YouTube videos, listening to like podcasts that I know I enjoy instead of like giving something new a chance. Anyway, it's bad. This was a really good book though. Next book I read was Meriden Park by Julie Danes. I got this one from my library. I was not obsessed with it. It was good. It had a good plot. I was interested, but I just towards the end I was like, I don't care. Like one little bit. I was just like, yeah, you got together, that's good. I wasn't like rooting for them super hard, but I also wasn't like indifferent. I was just like, yeah, good job, you got together. I mean, her writing was good. I think I also kind of burned myself out. I found 2 authors that I really like that are Regency romances. For some reason, I guess I just like the more emotional ones, and most of the ones I've been reading just don't feel emotional. They just feel like a book, and that's fine. I have such a high standard. My problem is I've read so many books that are so good that I can't read anything that's subpar and really enjoy it. I guess I'm just spoiled that I managed to find so many books I've enjoyed so early in life that now I can't find anything that's comparable to them anymore. Oh well, what am I supposed to do? Reread all my favorite books? It's fine. I really don't mind. It's just making it difficult to find authors I enjoy as much, which I have been finding authors I enjoy this year, which is really good. This is a tangent. No one cares. Okay, so I gave that one 3.75 stars because I wasn't obsessed with it, but it was good. And then I read, so I was at DI and I found a Babysitter's Club book, but one of the graphic novels, which my siblings and I really like reading them, specifically because Raina Telgemeier did like the first 5 of them, and she's a fantastic illustrator. And this one was Christy and the Snobs. I think it was like book 8 or something like that. And I started reading it because I was just kind of like, I want to read something really quick, and they took like 30 minutes to read. And why did I cry? Like, I'm not gonna say what happens, but I literally cried at the end. I was like, this was a 30-minute book for kids. Like, why am I crying? Anyway, I gave it 4 stars. It was really good. And then I read, oh, I have that book. I could have shown you. It's up in my closet. I'm so bad at this. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Edge Dancer. This one is signed, by the way. I'm just gonna flex that on you really quick. It's signed. I went to Brandon's first Dragonsteel Con, and I didn't realize that this book is like a 2-part thing. So this one's like the first novella that's in Words of Radiance, and so I didn't reread that part because I already read it. But I read the part that's the second half, and I actually really enjoyed it this time because I think now that I kind of know like the arc of where the story is going, when I read it the first time, I was kind of like, why in the world? Why do I need to know this? Like, I don't understand. But this time I realized that more and more of what's happening in this book is in the series is more philosophy, and like obviously they beat people up, but like it's more philosophy and figuring out what's right and what's wrong. And this book kind of hit that nail on the head, and I really enjoyed it actually. But I'll let Lyft. Honestly, I'd let Lyft steal my food, and that's a big thing because I grew up with a bunch of siblings stealing my food, and I hate it, but I would let her steal my food. Then I read Enchanted by Aletha Contis. This one was also on my TBR. I got it. I like put it on my want to read list on Goodreads. And then when I want to read something, but I want just like an audiobook or something like that, I'll look them up on Libby and see if they have them. And they had this one on not Kindle, but like the Libby version of Kindle. And this one took me a bit to get into the world because I thought it was going to be more fairy tale, but more like la da la da fairy tale. No, this was like straight into the fairy tale. Like the fairy tale is their life. They don't take it for a joke. It's all serious to them. It was actually really interesting. I gave it 4.5 stars just because I wasn't completely immersed until like probably the last 100 pages. But it was really good. I think I'll probably read the second book in the series now that I've kind of like gone out of it a little bit. Now that I've like thought about it for a bit, I think I'd read the second book in the series. Okay, this book was probably the best book I read this entire month. It was Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Now, I give this 5 stars. I have been thinking about reading this book since I was literally like 10, and I started reading when I was 10, and I was just like, I don't get it, I don't understand, because I wasn't like huge into reading classics when you're 10, obviously. But I read it this time. I was sitting there in shock for the last like 150 pages. It was so brilliantly written. The tension was so high while they're sitting in a car. It was wonderful. It was a beautiful book, and I need to read more books by her because yeah, it took my brain power, but every single word, every single phrase you had to pay attention to, and I adored it. I need to read more by her, but after I'm done with all the books that I need to read this month because It's ridiculous the amount of books I need to read themselves. Okay, City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This one I gave 3.75 stars. I wanted to start the series because I own a couple of the books on that big old pile of books right there. Again, I think I'm spoiled. Like, I'm gonna keep reading them obviously, but I think I'm spoiled. Like, the writing was good, but I think I've just read so many well-written books that when this book kind of just felt like a string of events kind of sort of related to each other, and they kind of just sort of stumble through what they're doing and it's accidentally useful, it felt accidental. It didn't feel like they were actually doing anything. It felt like they were just kind of doing things and accidentally worked out. I'm gonna keep reading it. I know that it gets better. I know that people love the interconnected world, so I want to at least read like 2 series or something like that. But yeah, 7.5 stars. Plus I literally went at one point, and if you've read this book, you know. Okay, then I read The Geography of You and Me, which I gave 4.5 stars. This is by Jennifer E. Smith. This book, so I found this at DI, and I thought it looked like a cute little rom-com. I thought it was middle grade, so when I went into it thinking it was middle grade, I was caught off guard by the fact that the girl is 17 and he's 18, and I was like, okay, not middle grade, high school. I knew it was going to be cute, but I didn't know it was going to be that cute. I really, really enjoyed it. I took off, oh, City of Bones has swearing and I think some drug stuff in it, but not a ton. What else has swearing in it? Danwell's, I think, has a little bit of swearing. The Partials book. Words of Radiance doesn't have anything. The Geography of You and Me had slight, like, innuendos, but not a lot. I think it had some swearing, but not a ton. Yeah, sorry, I had to give my things out because it's what I'm trying to do is tell y'all. So The Geography of You and Me, it was so cute. It was a really good rom-com, but it was also like they had to work through their individual stuff, and I really, really enjoyed that. And how they twisted it at the end made me really, really happy. It was really good. It was short. I listened to it because I needed a book to listen to at work, and it was, I think, 6 hours, and I read it in like 4 because I had it on like 1.75 speed or something like that. It was good. I really enjoyed that one. And then the last book I read this month was The 5 Apology Languages by Gary Chapman and Jennifer Thomas. This book, okay, I do enjoy his tips. I don't think he's 100% correct about this specifically. Love languages makes more sense to me. This one I don't think is 100% correct because, well, reading it, I couldn't, like, normally you can read it and be like, oh yeah, I'm this one, I like this apology language. Maybe I just don't know how to apologize. Or maybe I apologize. There was one thing in the book. There was one specific part in the book. Where is it? It was like towards the end. I don't remember what it is, but there was a part that said like, what if you apologize too much? And it said you might be like insecure or something like that. I'm like, yes, I know I'm insecure. How do I fix that? Can you give me a little bit of insight into that? Like, because I don't need the rest of this. I know how to apologize. I think I'm doing a little bit better at apologizing lately, but I don't know how to stick up for myself and not just say sorry. Can we work on that, please? Can you have a chapter on this, please? And there wasn't one, so it wasn't as useful to me. I'm probably going to reread it at some point in the distant future, but it was a book. It was a self-help book. I don't love self-help books, but it was more bearable than others. I didn't write it because it's nonfiction. Yeah, those are all the books I read this month. I also have been working on Oathbringer this entire time. I am 441 pages in, which I think I was like this far in when I started this month. So I've read a decent chunk. I really, really want to finish this book within the next couple. It's not going to happen in the next week, realistically speaking, but I really want to finish this book this month because the 5th book comes out next month. How has this snuck up on me? I've been working on this all year and I still am behind. At least at this point, I know I'm not going to forget anything. I also need to, oh my goodness, I need to pre-order my book. Anyway, those are all the books I read this month. I don't think I'm working on any other books right now just because, I started reading Dune, but I'm like a page in, so that doesn't really count. It was a good reading month, but I just was focusing so hard on getting my editing up to date and my uploads out, which I did. My uploads are all out. This is going to be not only topical and relevant, but easy to do because I don't have to slot it in between other uploads. Thank you so much. I know I'm fantastic. It was a pretty decent reading month. I really enjoyed a lot of what I was reading. I didn't have any like super, super low rated books. It was all just like, the worst was a meh, you know? But yeah, that was my October reading. I really hope I can get more reading done this month. We will see. You never know at this point. But thank you so much for following along with me. And I have a TBR video that should come up before or after this. Who knows? I love you all. I will talk to you later. Goodbye.